is the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank, member FDIC, our amazing partners in Possible here at KC Sports Network. Kent Swanson here with Maddie Lane today. No Craig Stout this week, unfortunately. We are looking forward to having him back, hopefully talking about a Chiefs win over the Detroit Lions, and 7 minutes of Craig might have to be 14 next week, especially if the Chiefs do pull off the dub. But it's me and Maddie. Maddie, how we doing?
Well, listen, Craig is okay. He's on a super secret mission to the space station. He will hopefully be back next week. He has figured out how to travel quite briskly through space. So he's good. I'm doing okay. You know, we're starting over relief. We're on to the Detroit Lions. We're moving on from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, you know, they earned the right of me attempting to say it correctly. So yeah, we're moving on. We're ready for this Detroit Lions game. And one thing going in the Chiefs' favor heading into this game, Kate, the Lions are a little banged up. Little banged up there on the defensive side of the ball. Listen, I'll take any bone I can get as a Chiefs fan right now, because we just need to collect some W's at this point in time. We need some Jameses.
Eat all of them W's if you can. Eat as many as possible. Don't care where you get them, how you find them. But yeah, it is. It's a list of potential outages for the Detroit Lions, and that defensive side of the ball is significantly beat up. And I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown wasn't a full participant until Thursday. He's dealing with a wrist injury. Like, there are all kinds of things going on with the Detroit Lions and their group. So hopefully the Chiefs are able to take advantage of it. Craig, I do love that you've taken the mantle of making sure everyone knows that Craig is okay. Because that used to be my thing. It was very serious.
Listen, we all love Craig, and he's getting up there in age, right? And all of a sudden, you see one of your elders just stop coming around, and you get a little concerned. There's that little team guy here next. We got to let everybody know that he's good.
He is good.
Now, after watching the defense last week, he might not be so great. Real quick, before we get into this game, and I know, we're probably without 7 minutes with Craig, unfortunately. We should have done 7 minutes with Craig and just been completely silent. I actually think that was definitely the play. We completely missed on that when we were thinking about this rundown. So that's a miss on our part. My bad. I should have thought of that. But before we get into the actual game here, what did you make of Steve Spagnuolo's comments about, I don't know if you've heard them, Steve Spagnuolo's comments about why Noel Williams didn't get a much run in the Jags game, and why about their packages of players that they were using?
Maddie, you said it on the post-game show, and I think it kind of resonates. Like, basically, and let me summarize, because I've read the quote, I have not seen it, but essentially, or I've not heard it. Spags essentially said, hey, we just didn't have that package. It had nothing to do with Noel, but we just really were in a package, or had the opportunity to be in the package that had Noel Williams on the field. Is that paraphrasing it?
Pretty much, yeah. It had nothing to do with Noel's performance. We still think he's doing good. It was just the package of plays for a variety of reasons that we went a different direction, essentially.
I don't have all that much issue with the Chiefs and Steve Spagnuolo preferring Shamari Connor for 98% of that game. So I understand the frustration and people are mad. But look, the Chiefs were trying to make Trevor Lawrence beat them. And I think they wanted to stop the run. I think they wanted to try to stop the run. And I think Shamari Connor was in there to be a better run defender from the slot than trying to play three cornerbacks. I don't fault Steve Spagnuolo's process for that. Honestly, I really don't. I'm okay with it. The umbrage I take is with the 3rd and 13. We talked about this, and Noel Williams not being on the field for that one. Situationally, out of a timeout, that's probably where I would be a little bit more apt to say, hey, play your coverage players in this situation. I think the only pushback you get is, and it's not great, do you worry about having to stop the run on first down, or do you worry about having to play the run on first down or something like that if they convert the first down, something like that?
Weren't they at the 15-yard line though, and it was 13?
I know, and that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing I could make the argument for. Maybe it's just a trust thing. A trust.
The other option The other option I come up with, Liam Cohen has a very good screen game. Maybe they're thinking that, like, hey, this is a good screen spot on 3rd and 13 because they're obviously going for it on 4th down. They have 2 plays here. But I'm still coming back. Like, I don't think that Trent McDuffie's a poor screen defender from the slot. I don't think Shamari Connor's any better than Trent McDuffie on a 1-play basis in terms of playing the run or a screen play from the slot. And from what we've seen from Noel Williams, I don't see anything that says he's a weakness on the outside and the same thing. So that one particular play down the stretch where we get the Shamari Connor pass interference on Brian Thomas Jr., that one does stick with me. Overall, I am not shocked that it wasn't a game that saw a ton of Noel Williams because the Jags did play a little bit heavier personnel. It probably wasn't the best matchup for him anyway when you look at the types of wide receivers that the Jags could put outside. And honestly, this next game against the Lions, I'm sure we'll talk about later, might kind of go the same route, though. Like, it might not be the biggest Noel Williams player package game.
Yeah, we're gonna find out, and maybe it's just like a small. Maybe the Chiefs are more willing to, or maybe Spags is more willing to try Noel because of what he saw this week. Like, that's entirely in the realm of possibility too. Like, they just feel more. Yeah, you know what? That didn't go so hot, and we had some opportunity that we kind of got picked apart. So maybe we should consider some things a little bit differently and shake some things up. I don't think the Chiefs will be opposed to maybe trying some of that a little bit, but that's a good. It's a good thought, and we'll see if he's able to get out there a little bit more. But I at least understand it a little bit, right? Like, I've been really irritated with the Steve Spagnuolo discourse like this week and just in general. I don't think the Chiefs have even a hint of a Steve Spagnuolo problem, and I don't get the frustration with them, and I will defend the man to this day. I've seen some, people upset. Like, people will not get over Josh Uche. Like, get over it. It didn't work out. Like, I'm sorry that he doesn't like speed rushers. He doesn't trust speed rushers. I'm sorry. I don't even know how sorry I am.
I still maintain it wasn't purely an Uche issue. It's the fact that they couldn't play him and Chris Jones together because you just would lose too much gap integrity with the way those two guys played. And that's not like singling out either player for being bad. Just go watch the Bills game. You have two guys and I don't even think it's that Uche's freelancing, just his style of rusher is, I'm going to take the inside route when it's there, and I'm quick, so it's going to be fast. And when I go up the arc, it's going to be fast. And so that leaves this gap underneath, like through the B gap to escape. And if Chris Jones isn't there to fill it, or if Chris Jones was also doing his thing where he's hunting his best matchup, and I get it. Again, sometimes that might work, and it looks really cool when it does, when you have multiple guys that work. But I think the issue is less even a speed rusher and more just you need somebody to play off of Chris Jones. And that wasn't working last year. This year, where Chris Jones maybe isn't as dominant, hey, maybe it would be a good idea to have that little extra chaotic player off the side. So that's a tangent about a player that's not on the Chiefs or the Lions. And so now we're just about going down this rabbit hole. So yeah, I think we could probably move on to the Chiefs offense versus the Lions defense whenever you're ready.
You think we can? You good with that?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think so. I think we're good. I think we're ready for it.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready to talk about this game. It is the game preview edition of the KC Laboratory. We are very excited to be talking about two very good football teams, two of the best teams in the NFL. You can make a case Detroit is the best team on the NFC side, even though they got bopped by the Green Bay Packers in week 1. They've been very hot since, playing some very good football since. And the Chiefs are going to have a lot to deal with when the Lions come into town. I remember the last time that these two teams matched up in Arrowhead. Not a fun game. First loss of the season for this football team. Chris was in the stands. That was quite the game. But I mean, the Chiefs had every opportunity to win that one. So hopefully they can clean some things up and win this football game here. And let's start with the offensive preview. We're each going to ask a question on both sides of the football. We will start with the offense. Maddie Lane, the floor is yours. First question.
I want you to give me your question. I want your question. I want you to hit me with your question.
All right. I love watching Josh Simmons play football. Absolutely love watching Josh Simmons play football. And it has been such a joy to see the Chiefs get such a steal out of Josh Simmons. It's already just paying dividends. And if Jeff Bossa does anything remotely good, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to be bragging about that trade 3 years from now and talking about how cool that was that Brett Veach was able to pull that off. But Josh Simmons has been everything this team has needed to be, and he's been getting deservedly all kinds of love this week. And it is on the verge of the biggest challenge that he's had as a professional. He is going to see Aiden Hutchinson some over there on the left side. I know they moved Aiden a little bit around, but it's going to be a lot of opportunities for Josh Simmons to line up against one of the best pass rushers in the National Football League, the biggest test of his career so far. And I think there's like a short-term, long-term fascination because they need to hold up in pass protection against Aiden Hutchinson in this game. But also it's just like it's a big picture question, getting to see this big challenge, this big test that Josh Simmons is going to have in front of him. I can't wait to see this matchup. And I'm really wanting to see how in that left side, really, on that offensive line they hold up, but specifically, like, the biggest test of Josh Simmons' career is on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, and so this is why I wanted you to present kind of your question first, because I had a lot of different ways I could go with the offense here, and this gets to tie into a lot of it. So even more than just Simmons, but him in particular, the offensive line versus this Lions pass rush. And the Lions pass rush is kind of similar to the Chiefs pass rush in that they get a lot of pressure. It's not necessarily the quickest all the time, but they just they get a lot of pressure over time. The longer the down goes, they seem to get pressure quite frequently. They're like, pressure to sack rate isn't particularly great. The difference is they have an Aiden Hutchinson right now who is in fact winning like relatively consistently at all times. So yes, everybody else is just kind of slow grinding into pressure. Hutchinson's been exceptional this year. I think he's pretty much like a 50-50 right and left side player this year, which is a lot different aiming into the league. So Simmons is going to see a lot of them. Taylor's going to see a lot of them. The best pass rusher that Simmons has faced this year was Brian Burns. And especially in that first half, that's probably where he had his most struggles. That's where we probably saw him get beat the worst and the most often was in that first half of that Giants game against Burns. So this is his next best, biggest test since then. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting. I think it's, Hutchinson presents like a different type of player than Brian Burns did. So I'm really interested to see how Simmons takes him on. Also, Andy Reid is notorious when there is one specific edge rusher that wrecks the game. Andy Reid in the past has been really, really good at taking that guy out of the game. Think back to Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack when they played him, Von Miller in his prime. Like the amount of motions, chips, players they send just to that side of the field when they're there gets those guys head spinning. So I am curious how Hutchinson, who is a high motor player with a lot of effort, but he wants to make big splash plays. I do wonder if they can get his head spinning a little bit to slow him down and help those tackles out in pass pro.
For sure. And like you talk about like the matchup issue, like I could see them treating, I think I could see them stylistically treating him like a Bosa, right? Like I think like that's kind of like a similar player arc to what, like more than like a Brian Burns. I think like there's good burst explosiveness, but there's also plenty of power and density to him. So I think that might be kind of how they try to navigate that. They've used a lot of jet sweeps and stuff against a player like Aiden Hutchinson in the past. I don't think he can get up the arc vertically the same way Josh Hines Allen did on that jet play against the Chiefs this last week. So you might see them put this could be a Brashard Smith game, but I think holding up in general in pass protection is such a big piece of this, and like slowing down, stopping Aiden Hutchinson so huge because there could potentially be a lot of back seven injuries to the Detroit Lions and players that could not play in this game. And if that's the case, well, I mean, yeah, you slow down Aiden Hutchinson in this game. I think good things happen. Maddie, what's your question?
Oh man. Okay. So I guess there's a lot that goes into this. I still have a lot of things offensive I want to talk about. I think the biggest one that's going to stick to me is, do the Detroit Lions continue to play a lot of man coverage, and how do the Chiefs turn around their production against man coverage? Because right now, the Lions, I believe, play the third most. I got it all over here. The third most man coverage in the NFL. They're very good at it, and that is something that they do. Now, with all these corners injured, I don't know if they're going to continue to play, man coverage 35% of the time, I believe is what it is, right? On the other side, the Chiefs, like EPA per play, success rate, yards per dropback, almost tank versus man coverage. They go from the best in the NFL versus zone coverage to one of the worst teams in the NFL against man coverage. Now, they don't see it a ton, and this is on passes, not QB scrambles, which is a little bit different, but on passes, they just aren't really finding a ton of success this year against man coverage. So I am very curious how that matchup goes. Do the Detroit Lions stick with what they do and play a third of their snaps in man, maybe even a little bit higher because of the amount of success that teams have had against KC running man coverage? Or do they have to protect themselves a little bit because they are playing backups and some guys that typically wouldn't be in the game? But if you do that and you go with more zone coverage, are you playing into the Chiefs' hands? So there's a little cat and mouse game there that I think comes with some uncertainty because of the injuries to the Lions secondary.
It's a massive question if the Detroit Lions want to try to do that, because we'll see the statuses of a Kirby Joseph and a Terrion Arnold. But those are two key players in the back seven of the Lions defense. The cornerbacks outside of Terrion Arnold: Amik Robertson, Rock Ya-Sin, and Avonte Maddox. That's the list. That's the list of cornerbacks outside of Terrion Arnold. So if they can't go, or if one of them can't go, whatever happens there, that's not a ton of horses there. And even the Chiefs could exploit and potentially expose that group, right? Like the Chiefs have some length and some physicality, or length and some speed, that can challenge those guys. Like if they want to try to play man against that, good luck. Good luck.
And I think that's the way. Okay.
Go.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's kind of like where my head went to, right? And they play man covers. The Chiefs have players that theoretically should beat it, but so far this year, the Chiefs have seen 74 plays against like pass dropbacks against man coverage, and per pass, they have a negative 0.06 EPA. Against zone, it's 0.326. It's a massive swing. They have not been able to beat man coverage. Now, I'm assuming a lot of those 74 plays came before Xavier Worthy came back, and not that he's an exceptional man coverage beater, but he gives them another option. He gives them somebody that does give you some man-beating ability, especially on outbreaking routes. So I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup to see if the Lions veer away from what they typically do, or if they don't, who on the Chiefs, or can the Chiefs really exploit backup corners, even though, they have this this issue attacking man-heavy teams.
And if they do try to play man, keep an eye on Mahomes' legs. Maybe they're going to try to keep a spy in there, but if they don't, this is an opportunity. Man coverage, even with spies, is still a great place. Even with, keeping eyes on the quarterback in the middle of the field, can be still a very lucrative thing, especially the way that Mahomes has been scrambling and running the football. If they do try to play a lot of more man, this is a good opportunity for Patrick Mahomes to get out there and use his legs. Calling all Chiefs fans, you could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pre-game coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. More on this game right after this.
I'm Brett Goodwin, one of the owners of The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree is a neighborhood toy store in Prairie Village, Kansas. This has been here in this location since 2000s, and my husband Alan and I purchased the store in 2023. Alan and I grew up in families where we've always wanted to have a business together. Alan grew up, for instance, his parents had a jewelry store. I worked in a local toy store here in Prairie Village when I was growing up. When this opportunity happened in 2023, we knew right away we wanted to contact them and pursue the store. We wouldn't have been able to get the store without the team at Emprise Bank. From the day we contacted them, they knew what we needed to do, which was very helpful. I would absolutely recommend the team at Emprise Bank to anyone looking to secure a business. We worked with Emprise from day one. They were extremely helpful. They were always great resources. We talk to them frequently. They know the area. They're very friendly. We know who we're going to talk with, and they know what we need to do. We hope we'll see you at the Learning Tree.
Chiefs Kingdom, I have got a question for you. What is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, I can confidently say that my favorite touchdown It's the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From the first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. From spreads to money lines, same-game parlays, regular parlays, you want it, DraftKings has got it. Here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use DraftKings Sportsbook, and you should too. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Hanging out here on the KC Laboratory, the game preview edition. Just got done with the offensive preview. Now it's time to talk about offensive players to watch. Matthew Lane, what do you have?
I don't go first. Okay.
Doesn't matter.
I
Two of us today.
am going to take. I mentioned him earlier. I'm going to take Xavier Word this one. I don't think he was coming off his best game this last week against the Jags. And I know right now he's questionable. So there's a chance that he doesn't play. I think the Chiefs do need him to suit up a little bit. And the reason I'm going to go with Worthy is I think the Lions defense is more gettable when you spread them out. When you get in shotgun and spread them out, I know we've been clamoring for the Chiefs to do all this under center stuff. And I like it. Like, I want it to still be part of the game. But I think the Lions defense gets stressed more when you put their players out in space. When you take some of these, for the lack of better words, big burly defenders, and you put them in space rather than letting them play downhill in the box. So spread them out, get in the shotgun, protect Worthy coming off the line of scrimmage, whether it's zone or man. And I think you can scheme up some pretty good looks for him against a weakened secondary. Maybe they connect downfield again. Maybe it's just him doing work in the shallow to intermediate area. But I do think if the Chiefs offense is really going to click in this game, unless Mahomes just goes completely as a superhero, which he still might have to do, I do think it'll be Worthy taking advantage of a weakened secondary over some of the other receiving options that have been good for the Chiefs, but don't quite have the same high-end talent that he does.
I'm going to stay in the receiver room for mine. Give me Tyquan Thornton, right? Like, he continues to just play well, continues to earn the trust of Patrick Mahomes, and you saw that against the Jacksonville Jaguars today. And like, if you want to talk about someone, like, I think Tyquan can do some things against man coverage. I think he can make you pay down the field, and like some of these cornerbacks for the Lions, there's not a ton of size and physicality in that room. Like, Amik Robertson's not the biggest guy. Avonte Maddox isn't the biggest guy. If Terrion Arnold's going to miss some time, so you really got just Rock Ya-Sin. I think Tyquan Thornton can beat any of those players. Rock Ya-Sin's probably the one that matches up the best from a physicality standpoint, but he can't turn and run with Tyquan Thornton. So you're talking about the length, you're talking about the speed. I think Tyquan Thornton has an opportunity to continue to do what he's been doing and make some plays in this game. And who knows, maybe he sees a little bit more burn. Maybe he eats into some of that Hollywood Brown snap count here in this game. So my player to watch is Tyquan Thornton. All right, defensive side of the ball time. Maddie, lead off.
Whew, that's another one where I have a lot of questions, but I'm going to make it simple. Over or under 11 targets for Amon-Ra St. Brown in this? That's it. That's what it is. Over or under 11 targets for Amon-Ra St. Brown. And like, the reason I'm going with this is because the Chiefs have two options. They either put Trent McDuffie, Amon-Ra St. Brown this year is playing 50-50 in the slot and outside. Okay, so he isn't a pure slot receiver like he was earlier in his career, but it's still a good amount. You can very easily, if you're the Chiefs, just have Trent McDuffie follow him. Or if you're the Chiefs, you can bracket him on nearly every single play like you did to Malik Neighbors, like we have seen him do in the past against other big time wide receivers. There are ways I think they could really try to limit his impact on the game. And if so, he probably has less than 11 targets. If they do that, that leads to a chain of events. How do they stop Duo? Because it's coming at him. How do they stop Jameson Williams from getting deep? How do they stop the weapons that the Detroit Lions have? Like, there's other issues if they stop Amon-Ra St. Brown. So it's just like a cascade effect. And I'm just curious how it goes about it. Or are they just going to let Amon-Ra get peppered with 18 targets this game? I don't know if that's the best plan of attack. I think when you get to do that, when the Lions get into that game script, I think they're really hard to stop, because guess what? They're still going to do everything else I just said. No matter how many targets Amon-Ra gets, they're still going to run Duo right down your throat. They're still going to find ways to get up shot plays for Jameson Williams. So I think the Chiefs need to go out of their way to make sure he stays in the single digits, preferably even low, like, closer to 5 or 6 targets, but like, just don't let it be an Amon-Ra St. Brown takes over kind of game.
I think that's where a lot of this will be. Like, it ties to some of the Noel conversation earlier, I think, a little bit, where, we're looking at okay, so trying to stop the run, prioritizing stop the run against the Jaguars and all that. And then you turn around and maybe that's the argument. Maybe that's the case for why you saw Shamari Connor playing in the slot a lot more. You alluded it to her earlier in the show, Maddie. Like, I don't know if the Lions are exactly a team that you're just going to feel comfortable being able to not play big in the slot, and kick Trent McDuffie inside, right? Like, you're not sure you're going to be able to do that either against a team like the Detroit Lions. And so you've got tough decisions to make. And I think the answer is probably a little bit of both. So if the Lions want to try to play some early down, get into the passing game and early downs, they might be able to expose, Shamari Connor in coverage. And maybe they try to throw Noel. Maybe they try to throw Noel outside on key downs, on key downs, on third downs, long downs, and try to kick Trent McDuffie in the slot and try to match up, or at least match up a little bit more, with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think you cater and you tailor a little bit more. I think you tailor a little bit more to Amon-Ra and try to make the rest of their very good, very talented weapons beat you. I think you've got to slow down Amon-Ra St. Brown in the passing game. If you can do that, yeah, I think you have a better chance of stopping that Lions offense. I think that's a good one. My question. Go. Sorry. No, you go.
No, I'm just going to say, and I think the tricky part is, on one hand, you have a Trent McDuffie who's almost tailor-made to be the type of Amon-Ra St. Brown is the type of wide receiver that you would expect Trent McDuffie to be able to shadow and slow down. I know we did a great job against Jamar Chase, but on paper, Jamar Chase is probably the type of wide receiver that matches up pretty well against McDuffie. He's a little bit more physical. He plays really big at the catch point. He's the kind of receiver. I mean, we've seen Cortland Sutton, AJ Brown. We've seen these big receivers have success against Trent McDuffie. It's guys that are a little bit shiftier, a little bit smaller, that you're like, hey, that's the kind of guy that McDuffie should probably be lined up on when you have the opportunity. So I can buy the thing, hey, if we have McDuffie just follow St. Brown everywhere he goes, we won't have to double him. That means that it's never a double, it's always a bracket, but we won't have to dedicate somebody else to him. And that gives us some help for Jahmyr Gibbs, so we don't get torched by every screenplay. That gives us some help against Laporta, against, all these other guys that they're going to throw out there. So I can see the argument for just letting McDuffie be the guy that takes on this particular fight and see how it goes. But if I know Spags, I think they probably go the route of that bracket coverage and just try to keep a lid on everything else, because you can protect yourself deep and add a bracket player over Amon-Ra St. Brown and kind of have a double while protecting deep. You're going to give up a lot of stuff underneath. And, hey, spoiler to my score prediction, I think we're going to see a lot of points in this game. So I'm just curious to see how the Chiefs go about trying to slow down the very key part of this Lions offense. And as much as I would want it to be McDuffie, I think Spags is going to lean in towards that bracket concept.
All right, so my question is this. Can the Chiefs make Jared Goff move? Look, Jared Goff is he's a tremendous quarterback at this point. The career arc for him has been amazing. I am so happy for Jared Goff and everything that he's accomplished. I'm very happy for him. I liked him coming out and getting to see his career renaissance in Detroit when he was given up on and all that kind of stuff. Great story. if you can get him to move, you can get him off his spot. If you can force him to adjust in the pocket, like he's gotten better as his career's gone on, but that's a way to affect him. He's not great on the run. He's really bad on the run, throwing the football, candidly. And if you can get his feet to move, if you can get him to move in the pocket a little bit, good things will happen in the passing game. He will be off. He will make mistakes. He will not be as accurate. He will not be as consistent. So what does that mean? What do you got to do there? Well, I think first off, you got to earn the right. You got to earn the right to try to get him off his spot, right? Like you got to put him in some long situations to try to get him in that situation. So you got to be really good against the runs. Like that's kind of the cop out answer. But I think that's the big question for me is how are they going to pressure him? Are they going to bring blitzes? Good against the blitz. Good identifying the blitz. If you get home, yeah, you can affect him, but he's doing a really good job. He's very decisive with the football, getting the ball out of his hands against the blitz. Comes back to that 4-man pass rush that's been such an issue for this team, the Achilles heel of this defense all season. Can the 4-man pass rush get home? That's a huge question for this game. You got to move Jared Goff off of his spot. How are you going to do it? Are you going to put yourself in a position to do it? That's the big question for me, Maddie.
And listen, like we talked about it, earlier in the week, the Chiefs' pressure numbers look really good, but it's just they're a little bit slower. They're like in the bottom 10 of the NFL and like their time to pressure and stuff like that. So it's cool they're getting pressure.
I saw Ted Wynn say like George Karlaftis is like exactly in the middle as he's a very average time to pressure. It's like 2.47 seconds for George Karlaftis.
Yeah. It's not great for the Chiefs. Like their time to pressure overall is pretty much like I said, I just had it pulled up a little bit ago. I believe that they are in like the bottom 10-ish of the NFL in time to pressure. They're getting a lot of them. It's just coming slowly. And that's fine. The coverage holds up. But if you're talking about with Jared Goff, I do think when things are clean with him, he does process the game very well. He very quickly goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Like he will do the entire array of possible reads if you give him time. You have to make him move a little bit. And in years past, this Detroit Lions offensive line had been very good at providing him with a pocket, a clean pocket, a comfortable pocket to allow him to do that. This year, it's been a little bit more up and down as they have all the turnover going on there. So I do think this is a game there, especially on the interior with Tate Ratledge being a rookie playing in there. Christian Mahogany's getting, it's his first year starting, only his second in the league. Graham Glasgow has been essentially, a career kind of like bouncing around journeyman kind of guy. This is the kind of game where you would really like to see Chris Jones' presence be felt often and early. And everybody always says interior pressure is a quarterback's, biggest enemy. For some quarterbacks like Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, it's a problem, but it's probably not the biggest deal to them. To someone like Jared Goff, it's a huge deal because he doesn't really have the wheels to get out and wheel around the defensive ends if they're not losing contain. He doesn't have the athletic ability to really adjust and make crazy throws from all these different arm angles and body positions. So I really think if they want to make him move, even more so than Chris Jones getting sacks, just be disruptive, constantly be getting in the way of Jared Goff. And if Jared Goff wants to scramble for 6 yards, one time, that's fine. Right. He's not going to do what Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert did to you. If you have to let Jared Goff scramble once or twice, but to continue to move him off the spot and constantly make him think that he's going to be under pressure, I think you sacrifice a scramble or two from Goff that you probably didn't need to give up to some of these other quarterbacks.
Even if Goff happens to scramble, I don't know. I don't know if he's got enough to, I don't know. I don't feel like he's going to do much with it. The offensive line's a big question for the Lions. Taylor Decker's hurt. He's been dealing with a shoulder injury. Historically, the offensive line for the Detroit Lions has been very good. There's more questions on the interior. I think Tate Ratledge has played well. Penei Sewell is one of the best tackles in football. Decker's hurt. And then you talked about Mahogany and Glasgow. This is gettable. This is gettable for Chris Jones. This is a very gettable offensive line for him if they can, if he can go in effect. Because he has a chance to really blow this game up. I think he has a chance to really blow this game up. So he's probably a good candidate for player to watch. But that's the low hanging fruit every week, right? But it would be good to see him respond. And I know he's gone through a lot last couple of weeks, and this last game and the look and all that kind of stuff was not great for him. maybe he turns around and just puts together, a vintage Chris Jones performance when his team needs him the most. Defensive players to watch. I'll start. How about it? I'll start.
Okay.
Yeah. Switching. I'll. You know what? I'll mess with you a little bit here. Give me Omar Norman Lott. So this team's pass rush, this 4-man pass rush, is not particularly good. We've established that very well over the last. The Chiefs have established that very well. Let's just be honest. If there's going to be any, juice along the interior, outside of Chris, they need some help. And this is, like I said, this is a gettable interior offensive line. And if the Lions are going to devote resources to Chris Jones, maybe it's an opportunity for Omar Norman Lott, who has kind of been, struggling with his injuries over the course of his rookie season. Seems like he's in line to play this week against the Lions, and I think he has an opportunity to go and affect the passer because he's going to get some opportunities there. And I think Omar Norman Lott is a strong candidate to make some plays in this game along the interior. What you got, Maddie?
I like that one. That's a good one. I am gonna go with give me Nick Bolton. I think Nick Bolton is coming off of a couple games that have been excellent for him. These last few games, he's been a menace trying to blitz. He's been a menace picking up some nice run plays to the outside. Like, he's been playing really good when he's playing downhill. I think this game, he's going to get plenty of opportunities to play downhill against this Lions run game, right? Like, they mix it up really well. They do a lot of zone, but they will also, like we talked about, they will run duo right at you. They will run, all different stuff right downhill at you. And that is where I think actually the Chiefs run defense has struggled the most with runs coming right at them. So I think it's going to be a big week for Bolton to continue this strong play and be able to get downhill and some of this stuff, be able to beat some of these combo blocks working up to him, being able to force the running back to, either bounce it outside where help's coming in from, or to keep them contained within a certain part of the defense. So until the alley runner comes in, I just don't want to see Bolton getting, like he has in the past, getting overzealous and overrunning things, or getting completely cleared out of the play because he's just running square to the chest of a blocker with not particularly good technique. If he's playing good right now, let's see that continue. And I do also think the Lions are really good at their play action game. So he is probably going to be put in a little bit more passing game conflict than he has been recently. And how does he hold up? Is he turning a corner in coverage? Is he doing a better job of just being in the right spot so he's not getting picked on as much? Or is this one of those games where we have like two entire series that feel like it's, they're stretching Nick Bolton to the sideline. He just can't keep up with Jahmyr Gibbs. He just can't get there. He just can't keep up with Sam Laporta. And like, we haven't seen one of those yet this year. Hopefully we don't see it in this game, but like, I think this is a game where the defensive performance really kind of balance on his back.
I like it. Like it a lot. All right. Prediction time, Matthew. What we got?
Oh, me. Okay. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. I don't know if it's going to be the same amount of points as when Mahomes and Goff squared off in that, game a few years back, Mexico City game. I don't know if it's going to quite be like that, but I think we're going to get a lot of points. I think with a injured Lions secondary, I think you still see this Chiefs offensive renaissance kind of continue. I think you will see them find some spaces. Mahomes is playing really good right now. Andy is going to give the Lions enough to think about, or Aiden Hutchinson enough to think about, to keep him from completely wrecking the game. Outside of him, the Lions pass rush right now, because of their injuries, isn't that scary. So if you can take care of Hutchinson, you should have some time to get stuff cooking down the field. So I think the Chiefs will put up points. I don't think the Chiefs defense is going to have a lot of answers for the Lions. I really don't. I think you're going to have some drives where they're just playing smash mouth football, other drives where they hit some big plays off of that. So I think this might be a lot of back and forth. It's going to be a high scoring game. Kind of whoever has the ball last will win. So give me the Ravens 26, the Chiefs 24.
This bit will never die, will it?
Commenters should have done what they did. It's their fault.
I think the Chiefs are going to respond really well in this game. I think, we've seen this team rally and show a lot of pride in the past. And, it's been moments like, hey, trying to rally around, Chad Henne or a Matt Moore in big games when, things have been kind of rough stretches. Maybe you're missing a Mahomes or something like that. Bouncing back from bad losses, disappointing losses. I think the Chiefs are going to bounce back strong in this game. I feel really good that this team knows that they should have taken care of business against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if every underlying metric would tell you that the Chiefs beat the brakes off the Jags in that game, but they didn't come out with a win. And so now they are stuck behind the 8 ball in a massive opportunity, in a massive game that they really need to win as they are competing for the AFC West and as they are trying to climb the ladder in the AFC yet again. And so I think this is a opportunity for some players to make some big plays, to step up and have their big moments. I think Chris Jones has the best game of his career, or not career, his season. Career would be sick. Best game of the season for Chris Jones. And I think offensively, you continue to see what you're seeing. And I think the Chiefs will score a lot of points. And I think they'll score more than the Detroit Lions. Give me 31-27. Chiefs beat the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football in an entertaining game. But I do think the Chiefs maintain most of the control of the game throughout the entirety of the game. So I think they're in good shape for the entirety of that game. That is going to do it for this episode of the KC Laboratory. Thank you all so much for listening, watching, supporting. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later.
Chiefs 34, Lions 31.